What do Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, and Bruce Willis all have in common astrologically? And what is going on with this dragging out mess of a divorce between Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt? There's a lot to talk about with you today. Let's look at it. This is Lydia with Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology. Welcome. If this speaks to you, you're interested, curious, wondering what Chinese astrology is all about, please subscribe and follow me along so you don't miss a single episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a beautiful spring day. I just came in from a glorious walk, and I'm sitting here, and last night I was looking at these two charts, and then all of a sudden this morning, I was like, you've got to be kidding. So I pull out my big folder full of all the celebrity astrology charts, and to verify, yes, indeed, Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, both born on days of the sheep, year of the rabbit. And get this, Bruce Willis, born on the day of the rabbit, year of the sheep. These three men are all super yin, which means more effeminate, more nurturing, more sweet, more caring and kind, not superhero material at all. They're, the sheep, the more that you study charts, the more you learn the craft and the artistry and the science that is astrology, whether you're looking at Western or Eastern. That sheep seem to be inherently artists, and they all choose their artistry, whether it's acting or singing or something else. Now, Brad Pitt has an interesting chart, all right? And this does not feel like a rematch of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp with this divorce at all. But there are some screaming, my big question is, how did these two get together in the first place? Because at the time he was married to Jennifer Aniston when they met on that set of that movie that I didn't see. It's not my type of movie, but you know which one I'm talking about. Anyway, so he is born December 18th, 1963 at 6:30 in the morning. His Bazi, I'll show you here. I know you guys love all the deets, so there you go. So he is born year of the yin water rabbit, the month of yang wood rat, the day of yin wood sheep, and the hour of yin earth rabbit. So he's got two rabbits, and you can tell from this chart, it's all water and wood. It's all water and wood. All right? Water, wood, and wood and earth. But there is just so much. How much? We're talking 60% of his chart is his own element of wood, nourished by a very strong wave of 30% water, balanced with earth, 17%, but that earth is floating out there literally like an island. Hardly any fire and no metal at all. Now, to qualify as a true follow self chart, a wood dominant chart, is that there is no enemy element, which would be metal, and there needs to be a full trio, which there isn't. There's only a partial trio, and that's with the sheep and the rabbit. If you had the pig would give you a full trio, and that doesn't happen even in his luck cycles. It does mean, though, that during years of the pig, his chart would become for that year a dominant chart. Honestly, because it is himself and it's about him, I don't know that that he would notice that. Because it's just the chart is so completely imbalanced. Now, you might have also noticed he has a penalty in here between his rat and the rabbit. He's born in the month of the rat, cold, cold water, frozen water. And the rabbit. So this creates that penalty in which he, throughout his life, is subject to getting involved in relationships of all kinds in which you go in and it feels like one thing. You feel like you can trust this person. You feel like you can commit to this person, collaborate with this person, be friends with them, hang out with them, go on adventures, maybe get married. And then things start getting twisted. Things aren't what they used to be. Things feel odd. All of a sudden, this relationship is becoming harmful to you in some regard. They've taken advantage of you, stabbed you in the back. They've slandered you in some way. They have backed out of a deal and you've lost money. Or a marriage that suddenly turns cold, okay? Or worse. Yeah, let's go back to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, kind of like that. All right, so with that penalty, it really sets him up for, and I talked about this in my last video about don't let your astrology freak you out and cause you anxiety. This is a real medicine for him to learn, how do I trust people? And in that, this is a life in which he needs to have greater awareness, to check in with himself before leaping into anything. And in fact, as far as relationships go, I would be very hesitant with a chart like this to just blindly trust. And not only that, he needs to really carefully vet the people he gets involved with. All right. His life pillar, you might have noticed when I held the paper up, Yang Wood Tiger. That's double wood. What is his life about? His life is literally the other side of the mirror. How do you identify with yourself? Who are you? What role or roles are you playing in this life? And how do those roles help you to understand who you are? His whole life is a journey of the actor on the stage of life. That is him. Interesting that his hour is also a rabbit, and speaks of someone who makes money with lots of different projects, lots of different ways of earning money. And it's all about him. All about him. In fact, as I have said about many of these celebrities and politicians that have these inflated self-elements, you can get very stuck in that world. And it is all the Brad Pitt show. And some people might say he was the bigger celebrity in this marriage. Though at the time, she was very actively, acting herself. It was kind of like, I think, right around the prime of her own career. And I think she kind of moved off into becoming more of an ambassador, and working with charities and a lot of charitable work and the adoption of her children. So her focus at some point, at least from my perspective, seemed to really shift and change. Now, what they're currently arguing over is apparently this vineyard that they co-own. And there's also allegations of him being verbally and physically abusive. And there was that apparent incident on an airplane that was the final straw for her to say, this, I no longer feel safe, and my children no longer feel safe in this relationship, and this is over. Now, I'm not here to play judge, jury, or anything like that, but I will say that this, again, we've got this personality of someone who is very gentle and very soft. But this is also someone who, Brad Pitt is someone who can't sit still. He needs to be busy. He needs to be occupied. He's an adventurous person. He chases after what he's desiring, whether it's the next great script, whether it's producing something or directing something or making wine. Whatever it is, he is busy with it. He can be manipulative. He can be a fighter. He's a natural, innate survivor. Like nothing will take this man down. He's competitive, and he can be abrasive. I will tell you, the shadow side of a rabbit, I know these people well. Believe you me, I have spent a lot of my life somehow with rabbit people. They can be moody, condescending, anxious, but they can also be the sweetest people and the most wonderful people when it comes to needing to figure things out, to negotiate a deal, to be diplomatic. And I also recognize, and isn't this the thing, right? This is the thing. When you're in a relationship that's going bad, one of the things that makes me the maddest in a relationship is when the person begins to bring out the worst in me. Because what's happening in a relationship that's going bad is your shadow side is coming out and you don't want it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't resonate. It's like having your clothes on backwards. And it's like you got to shake it off. Anyway. And we see that with our loved ones, how they turn and all of a sudden the shadow is coming out. And here they're suddenly super moody and reactionary. So if you ask me, and you couple that with the fact that he has next to no fire in his chart to regulate his emotions, his mental health, the fire is his acting career. Remember that in the five elements represent so many things, from the organs of our body to the activities and careers that we choose. The elements are represented in everything in our lives. It's rather amazing. Smells, tastes, colors, all of it. So he's supplanting fire in his life by being an actor. And then that helps to nourish the earth. But I still stand by the fact that that this chart feels like somebody who is living in a shadow. And I think that the penalty of the rabbit emphasizes that. Metal is the enemy for this guy. And so what you want to look for is, where does metal come in his luck cycles? That's where it gets very tricky for him. And later in his life, thank God, later in his life, metal shows up. When you have a chart that's this imbalanced, you don't want the enemy, the metal, to show up to challenge the dominant element. You don't want that. And remembering again, what ends life is either the pattern is broken and or your daymaster element can no longer sustain itself. And this This is the preciousness of life. This is why on a beautiful morning, I decided to not sit down at my desk at 9 o'clock like a good little person. And I went for a beautiful walk. Anyway, so we've got a super yin guy, a true artist, a moody little rabbit, and that sheep that's all about maintaining peace and everything just going along. These are super laid back, happy little people when life is plugging along like they want it to. And in fact, he is a pretty happy guy. He loves beautiful things and surrounds himself with beauty and luxury. He has a real affinity for the arts. But he has to be careful of his mental health. And I don't know that has ever come up in anything that I have read or know about Brad Pitt. And again, I'm not here to label him or suggest anything, but I am saying that seems to be an interesting thing to show up here. He is also, again, very innovative, a true artist. He is someone who is inventive and creative in all ways. Now that we have gone around all of that, we're going to come back as I go through these two charts to look at specific years involving Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and also what's going on this year. All right, so let's jump over to Angelina. Here is her chart. And she is born June 4th, 1975 at 8:09 in the morning. First thing I saw, because that's what I do. When I look at a chart, I just glance over it and let it speak to me. You know, kind of like my naturopath does when she's doing work on me. First, she stops to listen to me. She's listening to my body. I am looking at this chart and it speaks to me. What is it saying? What do I first notice? He is yin wood. She's yin metal. This is like yin metal could be a rooster, though there isn't a rooster in her chart. But that yin metal and yin wood, it's like chopping up vegetables. It's combative. She's born in a year of a yin wood rabbit because she's 12 years younger than he is. Month, yin metal snake. Day, yin metal snake again. And the hour of yang water dragon. Very, very, very different people. Oh my God. And interesting, her chart is balanced. It happens. I know. Metal, her element, is pretty strong at 30%. What nourishes her, earth, almost balanced at 14%. What she produces as a metal person, water, almost balanced at 14%. What she controls and where she manifests, wood, balanced at 23%. Her fire, what rules her, her career, her love affairs, 19%. Fascinating, I know. So with all of her chart, this is someone who is balanced in yin yang. She has a semi-wood trio that with her rabbit and the dragon that weakens her earth. And in weakening the earth, it weakens the support in her life. This is a fire pattern, which shows that there is already a dynamic in her chart of conflict. You've got that fire and she's yin metal. So this feels, and it's yang fire. Snake as yang fire is This is more than smelting, like soldering jewelry, which would be yin fire and her yin metal. This is a very dominating force for her. And even though her yin metal, her metal is strong, there is that dynamic. And just want to mention that. So when we look at this person, again, the rabbit can be moody, condescending, but they also are negotiators. They like to work things out. They do not like conflict. They abhor conflict. They need life to be going along well. Now, for her, the snake is her day master. And the snake, this is someone who prefers to be in the background. It's very interesting that her personality between the rabbit and the snake is far more someone that is not on the world stage at all, but is rather behind the scenes, taking it all in, perceiving, intuiting, imagining. The snake is also where that sensuality and beauty comes in, and the yin metal, it's like sparkles. It's like jewels. So of course she's beautiful. Now, given all that, you would not imagine that this is going to be a person that is going to be an actress or an ambassador speaking in front of Congress. Where that comes in is her career of Yang Water Dragon. The dragon is giving her leadership and authority and agency to speak her truth, even if that's abrasive, but she can also be aloof. And for, a soft, sweet sheep, that snake might come off as being very cold sometimes. But that dragon really is speaking of somebody she's badass, man. She is ready to kick it. And it's interesting because I see her role in life not as an actress, but as an ambassador, as someone who is doing good, as someone who is working for charities. And that shows up so strongly in her hour. Working government work, political activism, caring for others, nurturing, being the mother. And she's making residual money. And she's enjoying all the different projects that she's doing, recognizing that she can be rebellious. She can go down her own path in life when it comes to her career and really craft her own way. What is my career? I'm going to make it up for myself. I'm going to figure this out for myself, right? So all of that, her career it's like a chameleon. It's forever changing. She's always adapting and figuring something new out. And the dragon and the snake get along great. The dragon also instills a level of mysticism and magnetism with her, like you're drawn to her. Now, when we look at how these two people interact on a animal level, right? They're zodiac animals. The rabbit and the sheep are very nurturing. And the rabbit will get the sheep organized. And the sheep offers pleasure. Then you put two rabbits together, and they're very civil, and they get along easily. But they can't handle the outside pressure of the world. And the world banging in with the paparazzi and all the attention created a lot of pressure that these two don't like. The snake and the sheep That's each of their day master looking directly. They have shared interests. But the sheep, these guys, super sensitive. They cry. They emote. And sheep are just a little too sensitive for snakes. And snakes, like I said, they can be kind of detached. And, where the sheep wants to snuggle in, the snake wants to coil up in her own space. They really work out better as friends. Now, snakes and rabbits, well, that's like a social scene. These two are a designer couple, really pretty on the red carpet. So when you look at the year and the day of each person, and you look at how those animals interact and dance with each other, you get an overall picture. The most important is the day. They would be better off as friends. Yin metal, yin wood, conflict. What is she looking for in a relationship? A partner. She's looking for, in her chart, a husband. This is my dude. She wants the family, and that family unit for her is everything. Her family is at the heart of who she is. And that is what she needs her man to be a part of. And this is someone who shows her a different side of herself. Also someone who is compassionate, nurturing, kind, charitable. I'm sure he ticked some of those boxes, but what he's looking for is an authority. It's kind of interesting given the fact that she's yin metal. That's an authority over yin wood. And so there's some of that dynamic of him seeking, if you will, a level of authority in this relationship. And there is that tension of give and take. Who's in charge here? Because after all, she's the one that's got the leadership skills. She's the one that is driving this train. She's in the driver's seat, not him. You can see this. And for someone like him who has got all that survivor skill and push, and I'm going to go and be adventurous, there's a lot where these two are just kind of going at life very different ways. He's also looking for someone to have fun with, to enjoy doing things with, a friend, a partner. And there's a lot of love around there, but there's infidelity. Infidelity, telling you. So let's break down some of these juicy dates, because this video is getting long and I know that your attention span might be short. And if you are interested in your own Bazi astrology for you and your partner, you and your child, maybe even your boss. If you're interested in these relationship dynamics, I will put the link to order your chart. It is an amazing deep dive. All right. So when Brad Pitt was with Jennifer Aniston in 2004, they got married, I believe. It was a year of the monkey. All right. And what do we know about the monkey? Monkey is yang metal, and yang metal is his enemy. The next thing we see coming up is 2005, Angelina Jolie. They get together, and this is a year of a rooster. This rooster is yin metal. And again, this is not favorable to him at all. In fact, that year, the rooster was banging up against both his year and his hour. There's a lot of conflict going on in his life as he is transitioning from one marriage into a new relationship. Hot, dramatic mess. Then, interesting enough, that in 2016, when they went to get divorced, it was again a year of the monkey. They got married in the year of a horse. A lot of fire. And then the divorce was finalized in 2019, year of the pig. So interesting as we move through the 2000s in his luck cycles for Brad Pitt, ages 36 all the way to 55, he was in void. And those void periods of the dragon and the snake were all creating, it's kind of like voids really set you up for things, like if anything can go wrong, it'll go wrong. If anything could not complete itself, it's not going to complete itself. Things fall through. Don't turn out the way you thought. The cake falls. So that year, or that luck cycle of the dragon for him, was so focused on romantic relationships when he was with Jennifer Aniston and with Angelina Jolie. And there was tons of money, huge success for him in the early 2000s. This was a bonanza of good fortune for him. And again, that void spins it. So if something could go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And that drama between Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie, the media will never let it go. 2010, he moves into a luck cycle of a yin earth snake. Everything literally begins to change. And with that change is a big focus on father. His father, her father, and his role as a father. There's a lot of money coming in from outside resources, but it is a radical changing time for him from 2010 to 2020. Still, there is that, with the snake, the mention within that of marriage, money, property, travel, all that good stuff. So there is still plenty of money coming in, but it's a changing scene. And in that change, again, is marriage and divorce. Where he is now, as of 2020, is Brad Pitt is in a time of a yang metal horse. That yang metal is not welcome. And it is bringing a huge focus to his work and his family. There is a surge now with his own sheep of fire, and this is a motivating force for him. He is really going to start working hard in these 2020s on new projects and starting to make different kinds of money. He's again dating, and that will continue. This particular year for him is a year of playing roles. I wonder if he's in any acting projects and really looking at himself. What is going on? And the chance that he could lose some money in all of this. The dragon for him takes him back to that first, isn't this crazy? This year of the dragon is like, hey, don't you remember back to that dragon period that you were in the 2000s? Oh yeah, when you first started dating her. You first got involved with Angelina. It's almost like a whiplash going back. And of course, all of this drama is hitting the headlines now because this dragon is drawing all of this up. It is reminding him in this void year of his relationship, his romantic relationships, to marriage, to finding himself and travel, prospering, property, all of it. And interesting, I'm wondering if the woman he's currently dating, if it's going to lead to a marriage, or how this whole thing with Angelina is going to roll out. Now, for her, the interesting thing in her chart is she is a hidden penalty because her life cycle, her life pillar, is a monkey. The monkey and her two snakes form a semi-punishment that shows up when there are years or luck cycles of the monkey. She had a luck cycle of the monkey, 1996 to 2006. She met Brad in 2005. Now, the penalty of snake, monkey, tiger really speaks of, lawsuits and loss of money, bankruptcy, illness, sickness, even death. Now, so the monkey highlights that, and that was 1996. She was actively acting and very famous at that time. And she's now at the very tail end of that luck cycle. She meets Brad. And in that next luck cycle of a yin wood rooster, which really was so focused on affairs and love and extra money coming in from different places and her own sovereign self, that her mother died in this time. And she met Brad. So the divorce that happened in her next luck cycle was the one that she's currently in. She's currently in a luck cycle of the dog. Now, you all know, because I've been talking about this, that 2024, year of the dragon, dog's the enemy. So since 2016, this has been banging up against her career. And that's what I'm saying. Since really that divorce in 2016, her career is going through a shakeup, a real reinvention of what's going on with it. This period of her life is very focused on her charitable work, her role as a mother, and that family unit. And again, her career having a shakeup. So within this, the divorce hits as soon as she enters this luck cycle. Where she is for 2024 is focused on travel and money and moving. The dragon year is banging up against this dog luck cycle and her hour. This all feels really shaken up. In addition to her career, her hour is where her children are. And so since 2016, when this divorce happened, there has been this shakeup with her relationship with her children. And part of that surely has been part of this divorce. Really, really fascinating. This year is again highlighting the role of mother, legal things going on, charitable work, but yes, lawsuits and legal stuff happening. There is extra money that could be broken up that comes out. There are projects and action that she's going to take that will become available because of this conflict. remembering that when conflict happens, things break apart. They can also break open and reveal things. This is also highlighting her relationship with her daughters. All this to say, at the end of this very long video, probably one of the longest ones I've done in a while, and if you made it to the end, thank you. I don't want to be sitting here talking to myself. Anyway, this does not favor well for Brad. I think at the end of the day, if she were going to win a lawsuit, this could go either way because of her having that penalty of the monkey and her snakes, the penalty of the dog and the dragon. There is so much conflict in her chart right now. So much conflict. Does anybody win in this one? No, nobody wins. Everybody loses. Wow. And that's life. We don't always win. There isn't always a decisive winner or loser. If you ask me, they both lost. And they both need to just accept the loss, cut ties, and move on. But if you want to battle this out for the sake of whatever, you're wasting your time because there is nothing to be gained out of this. Not a vineyard or a relationship with your children. There sometimes in life we need to let time pass to move into a more fortunate period of our lives, whether that's the next year or the next luck cycle. And there are ways to navigate all of this beautiful life when you know your astrology. Until next time, friends, be well.